Minded Basketball Podcast, also known as M.O.B Podcast, episode 77. I'm Evan.
And I'm Ja.
It's our basketball podcast where we recap, break down, and analyze players and teams from previous games from the previous day. How are you this Friday, Ja?
I can't believe it's Friday.
You always say that. Man,
well, what do you hear? What do you say? Hey!
What?
Oh, it was something from The Sopranos. My bad.
Oh, I would.
Like I don't want to
got that reference, but I'm probably not that far.
Yeah,
to the show. Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Good. Thanks, Paulie. All right. I hope everyone having a good day. I hope everyone will have a good day. It is Friday, so get through the day, and then you can enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend for tomorrow and the next day. So keep that in mind. As for us, there was a lot of basketball action from last night. A lot and a little at the same time, only 6 games, but a lot in that 6 games. So let's start off with the last game of the night, the doubleheader and the second game of the doubleheader. The Hornets and the defending champions, Los Angeles Lakers. And this was a very up and down game. The Lakers got out to a lead in the first quarter, extended that lead big time by the end of the half. Then the Hornets came rushing back on a big run in that third quarter. And then in that fourth quarter, the Lakers got back out to that lead. And even when the Hornets kept trying to get it close and bring it in single digits, the Lakers would just keep pushing back and pushing back and pushing back. And as a result, the Lakers do beat the Hornets 116-105. Let me get your breakdown, your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, this was a really competitive game from an aspect in which, like, you know, the heart of both teams. That first half, the Lakers looked like they were just cruising. You know what I mean? Like this is sometimes what you like to see from the Lakers. And I'm not saying that's a healthy thing to do because that could get them in bad situations if teams start coming back, like what the Hornets did. But like the way that they were just playing with the energy, the movement, the fun, they just looked like everybody was just clicking on all cylinders. They was making it look as if it was back in the 80s. Okay, let me not go that far. 90s.
Oh,
90s,
wow.
90s.
Wow.
90s, the 90s.
The 90 Lakers, which one? With
the young Shaq, young Kobe, and Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones and all of them. They was looking like them. They weren't. I'm sorry, that's disrespectful to the Showtime 80s. I didn't mean to compare that, but they was playing with that much fun.
You see, kids these days have no respect for the greats. Just disrespected James Worthy and Kareem and Magic.
All right, I took it back. I'm sorry.
And Michael Cooper. And AC Green.
But they were just clicking in that first half. But again, one thing for sure that I love about this Hornets team, they never give up. They always fight and they always have energy, especially on the offensive end. And they came back. And they was able to tie the game at one point, or I believe take the lead. I don't remember, but just a good fight by the Hornets. But you know, the Lakers being the more experienced team, they have to pull away.
Yeah, the Lakers really, you can see they getting into their groove. They're getting back into their groove. This is now their 4th straight victory. And you can see, you know, the implements of last year of how they were playing. Even without the AD, you can see that the role players are really stepping up. Kuzma has been big time for them. Taylor Horton-Tucker has got it going. Dennis Schroeder, well, he's not really a role player, but Dennis Schroeder being their second best scorer that they needed. And of course, the king at the helm, LeBron James, finished 37 on the night.
Washed.
Yeah, Wash King. That's what they say. Wash King with 37 on the night.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fun to watch these Lakers play like this. This game and the Warriors game, you can see, yeah, they getting it together, and it's very dangerous. They're getting it together right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, as for the Hornets, can't really complain too much about this. The Lakers are a better team, but the Hornets came to fight. They came with the energy. They tried their best. to get back into this game. LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Jay Washington. But in the end, it wasn't enough. Like I said, the Lakers just are the better team.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, the Lakers do win this game and are now currently on a 4-game winning streak. All right. Going to the earlier game, the game that started it off for the Knights and the first game of the doubleheader. The Utah Jazz going up against the Washington Wizards. And wow. Let's just start off with that. From the get-go, the Wizards had the control. Those two right there just were beasting. Bradley Beal finished with 43 on the night. Russell Westbrook with 35 points and a triple-double. What?
So why does that always happen when you start talking about a certain player? So they always come out. Yo, that's crazy.
Listen, hey, like Jordan against the Blazers. I don't know. It's just happening. Like I said, Bradley Beal finished with 43 on the night and was cooking alongside Russell Westbrook, who was getting his teammates going, and he was had it going at himself. 35 points, 15 rebounds, 13 assists. And like I said, they really controlled this game. I mean, they had the lead for majority of that game. And even though the Jazz did their best to fight back, especially in that second half, Donovan Mitchell, who also had 40 points on the night, 42 on the night, along with the help of Joe Ingles, finished with 34 on the night. They tried to get it going, but every time they tried, the Wizards just kept putting up buckets and kept extending the lead.
Yeah.
So no matter what the Jazz can do, no matter what the Jazz can do, they couldn't get back into the game. And as a result, the Wizards shockingly upset the Jazz.
Yeah, man. This was their night, and you always see this with teams that who that have been poor for majority of the season. It's like whenever they go against one of the best teams in the league, they always have that kind of edge about them and stuff. Let's be honest, the Wizards should not be a poor or bad team. Unfortunately, they are, but they shouldn't. And yet again, bad teams play harder against one of the best teams in the league because of the fact they want that edge. They want to prove to people something at times. They want to have that dog heart. And that's what they were showing the whole night. And even though the Jazz nearly made a comeback because the Wizards defense nearly squandered near the end, their offense is one of the best in the league. Okay, not one of the best in the league, but had the potential to be one of the best in the league.
Yeah. When their offense is in rhythm, when Bradley and Russ are cooking, I mean, they putting up 120 plus a night.
Exactly, because look at it. You already said the two main ones. You talk about Bradley and Westbrook, who are common elite buckets regardless. Then you got the fact that you talk about they got shooters, people who could attack inside the paint, shooters such as Bertans, NATO, what's that rookie? Abdia.
Yeah, Denny Avdija.
Like they got, and you got Clay Matthews, who's a shooter. Like, they got so many, not Clay, Matthews, whatever his name is. I don't know his name. I know his name is Matthews. It's not Clay, but I know his name is Matthews.
Oh, so I don't know when he played for the Wizards. First of all, that's a football player. That's one. You're talking about Garrison Matthews.
Yeah, Garrison Matthews. Yes. Shooters. They got everything. Their whole formula is set for offense. When it comes to offense.
Yes, and even though sometimes they mess up down the stretch, and even though their defense can be terrible at times, when their offense is this good, it's really hard to beat them, especially when they got it going from the jump. As a result, the Jazz couldn't really bounce back against them, and they lose this game. And also, the Jazz have been hitting a little bit of a bumpy road in the past. I want to say 10, 11 games. I believe they're 5-6.
Yeah.
I think let me just check. I believe they're 5-6, and they've been struggling a little bit.
Well, yeah. Again, when a team, look at every good team has to go through this. every good team has to go through a situation in which, like, they make a bloop before they could go straight back up and start ascending again. And I think that's what the Jazz are going through. They're going through their obstacles.
Yeah, they are going through their obstacles. Hopefully they can get it together though. As of right now, they still do have the best record in the league and in the West, but the Lakers are creeping up, only a game and a half back.
Yeah.
But great win by this Wizards team. But all right, there's a few other games that happen around the league. With many great performances. What would you like to discuss first?
I would like to talk about the Pelicans versus the Blazers, and
The
this
rematch
was
from last Thursday.
rematch from last Thursday. And even though it wasn't much of
Or
no,
sorry, rematch from Tuesday.
and even though it wasn't that much of a thriller as it was, as a dramatic thriller as it was the last game, this was still a highly competitive games from both ends. And it came down to a point in which both teams were fighting, getting baskets, trying their best to give each other a competitive edge. And you can see that the Pelicans, like, even though it didn't do that much wonders, their defense actually looked a little bit better down the stretch, and they were trying their best to, like, limit the Blazers,
A
but
tad.
just a tad bit. But, like, the Blazers, their offense is just too good. Like, they could find so many ways to dominate you from any play that's on the floor at that point. And as a result, Lillard's dunk right like nearly on Ingram basically gave them the dagger right then and there, and the Blazers won.
Yep, Dame Time. He's been doing it his whole career and his entire season. So yeah, great win by the Blazers, sweeping this 2-game series against the Pelicans.
Yeah.
All right, other
Another
games.
another game I would like to focus on is you're wearing the hat of one of them versus the
Yes, I am.
Orlando Magic, and this was also another really good game. The Magic came out clicking on all cylinders offensively with their movement and their ability to like shooting around the perimeter and stuff like that. And you can see that they had it going from early on. Vucevic, Fournier, all had it going on. And then the Knicks just started to mount their own comeback. And then once it got down to the fourth quarter, it basically became back and forth exchange, especially from the threes. They started hitting threes, and it went from Frank Ntilikina, who also had, like, kind of a tough game. Like, in terms of his ability, he was showing some heart this game, surprisingly. And he hits a three, and then, it gets to a point in which, like, Randall hits some big shots down the stretch, and then Alex Burks hit some big shots, and then, but yet, despite all of that, they were up by 5, but despite all of that, the Magic still had fight in them, and you saw Evan Fournier hit a big three to to to
Yep,
to, to cut the lead down to
to
cut the
one.
lead down to 1, and then they also had another opportunity, but yet
But Bullock, Reggie Bullock. Thanks, Reggie.
comes up with the big steal, and they just basically, and the Magic tried to foul, but they just had no chance at that point.
Yep.
Yes, that was quick. That was a quick defensive play by the Knicks.
Yep. Reggie Bullock sealing the deal for the Knicks as they beat the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, what a way! And just real quick, just what a way! What a way! Like, defense has been their main mantra this whole season. What a way to end the game off the defensive end.
Yep. And look at the score, 93-94. Tom
Yep.
Thibodeau loves that score. He loves that score.
The 90s called for their basketball back, bro.
All right. The last game that you would like to go over?
Last game I like to go over is the Wolves versus the Suns. And and I'm just gonna skip all of that because I think, these are two, like, two teams not really known for defense.
No.
Mainly known for their offense, and, like, it was a really high scoring game with that. And the Suns had the lead for the beginning. The Wolves started to come back, but then that fourth quarter just became the cat and the Anthony
Edwards show.
And they were just getting buckets all around in that fourth quarter, especially Anthony Edwards, continuing to prove that he deserved the number one pick. I know LaMelo's been having a great season and everything, but he's continuing to show people why he was the number one pick for a reason. 42 on the night, and he was just straight up balling, talking out the pause, but just beating out the Suns in that fourth quarter. And just beating the Suns in that fourth quarter. And even though it was a back and forth, the Wolves were able to take this.
Yep, the Wolves were able to upset the Suns team. From the Wolves do have the worst record in the league, and the Suns were second in the West up until the loss. And great performance, Anthony Edwards. Wow, just magnificent. And Karl Anthony Towns, who also had 41 on the night, 41, 10, and 8. And Anthony Edwards had 42. The cat and ant show. Yeah, great win by the Timberwolves team.
Yeah.
Disappointing Suns. Very disappointing. All right. There was one other game that happened around the league. I'll just go over it quickly. The Thunder and the Hawks, and it was a blowout. The Hawks were able to beat the Thunder pretty convincingly off the strength of Trae Young and Bogdanović coming off the bench, giving them a spark with 23. Quick note about this Hawks team also, that win marks their 7th in a row. Nate McMillan has been playing great basketball. I know even though they haven't been really playing the best of teams, but they were losing against the worst of teams before.
Yeah.
So 7 in a row in the NBA is still impressive, nonetheless.
Yeah, a win is a win, man. A win is a win.
Yes. So I gotta give props. Nate McMillan. You see the difference between Nate McMillan and Lloyd Pierce. with
all due respect, yeah.
With all due respect to Lloyd Pierce, but Nate McMillan, he's a playoff coach.
Yeah.
You know, he's every team that he's been on, he's been to the playoffs with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you see the impact he had on this Hawks team, and now you see him playing winning basketball. So you got to give credit for that.
Exactly.
All right. No news because there was very little going on from last night. So let's just jump right into the predictions for tonight's set of games. Only one primetime game due to by the way, and also if you haven't noticed, the games last night were on NBA TV because it is March Madness, the college basketball, you know, that is that time, tournament and all that. So that's going to get most of the attention and most of the
media attention.
Media attention in nationally televised games. So that's how it's going to be for the next few weeks, really much.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get on to predictions. First, the Spurs up against the Cavs. Who you got? Spurs. The Kings against the Celtics. Celtics. The Pacers up against the Heat. The Heat. The Nets up against the Magic.
Nets.
The Jazz up against the Raptors.
Jazz.
The Pistons up against the Rockets.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say the Rockets.
Oh, man.
You got the Pistons, right?
Yeah.
Two, like almost two of the worst teams in the league right now.
What did I say before? It's like getting stabbed. Yeah, it's like getting stabbed by a spear or shot with a bow and arrow this time. I mean, gosh.
Look, man, it's time. This losing streak for Houston got to end at some point.
You're right. Yeah, I agree with you. I got the Rockets. Currently on an 18-game losing streak. Yeah, let's see if they can beat the Pistons. What an accomplishment that will be. The Warriors up against the Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies
as well. Wow, we agreeing on everything? Jeez.
The
Bulls up against the Nuggets.
Nuggets.
The rematch from just last night's with, of course, Anthony Edwards and Cat both dropping 40 and upset. The Timberwolves up against the Suns.
The Suns are going to bounce back.
I agree. The Suns are going to bounce back as well. And lastly, the first and only primetime game of the night, nationally televised. In the last meeting between this team, it was a great battle between their stars, but in the end, it was Dame time sealing the deal. It is the Dallas Mavericks, led by Luka, up against the Portland Trailblazers, led by Damian Lillard.
Oh, dang, that's a tough one. I got the Blazers.
And I got the Mavericks. One. One. All right. I think it's time to wrap things up. Any final thoughts?
No, just good games. Good games.
Yes, great performances. I mean, wow, like 4 people dropped 40.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's modern day NBA for you. And some of them actually led to wins. So good.
Yeah. And Thibodeau was like, I'm following my old school philosophy, man.
Yeah, you got everybody playing like the modern day, and you got Thibodeau thinking it's 2005. Oh man, 2004 for the hand check. All right. That being said, thank you guys for watching today's pod. Make sure to tune into tomorrow's podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Also, follow IG down in the description below.
And once again, I'm Evan.
And I'm Ja.
And this is the Mind of Basketball Podcast.